On today's show, I'm going to tell you why this game against the Blazers on Wednesday for the Clippers is a must win. Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA and in my 20th season as a Clipper fan. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper and LA sports content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Let me know what you think of my comments in this game about if this is a must-win. And before we get started, this episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is the best place to get great deals last minute on tickets. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. All right, so in this episode, ahead of the Wednesday game against the Portland Trail Blazers, I'm going to be talking about why I believe this is a must-win game, what is it's going to take to make this one a comfortable one, and a subplot I'm looking at in the game. So you might be thinking, must win, and it's the fourth game? Dime, or Darian, whatever you call me. By the way, it's Darian, not Darian. I hear some people calling me Darian. I was called that in elementary, middle, and high school because people could not pronounce my name, and then I got tired of it. I'm like, you know what, when I go to college, I'm going to have people call me by my real name. If you want to get really authentic with it, my real name is pronounced Darian Vaziri. That's the Iranian way. But you can call me Darian or Dime. I don't care. Just not Darian. Anyway, you might be thinking, how is it a must-win game? Well, this is what I'll say, right? It's not actually a must-win game, but when you're in a situation in this Western Conference this year where these teams are all going to be super close when it comes to standings, you have to take any game you can get, any win you can get. That's one of those games that's like, oh, we should win this game. We should beat this team. And if I'm being real, without Kawhi Leonard against Western Conference opposition, if we're not playing the Spurs, Jazz, or this team that we're playing on Wednesday night, the Blazers, we're not going to be favored most nights. They're going to have us as the underdog unless the Clippers continue to win, and then the odds will change and people will start seeing what the Clippers are doing, and then they'll be like, oh, this Clipper team is actually better than we believe. But based on how they were treating us before the season, FanDuel odds had us 12th, and I said we could be 12th if Kawhi doesn't play a game, or let's say he misses 60. But if Kawhi plays even 40 or more, I think we should be higher. My official prediction was 9th. And that's only because of Kawhi's health. If we had Kawhi, let's say, for 60-plus games, I would have us as like the 4th or 3rd seed, honestly, because I think we're really that good. It's really about how much can James Harden sustain the weight that he has to carry throughout the course of a season without Kawhi, depending on how long Kawhi's out. That's what I'm worried about, because last year James Harden was doing less, and he got burned out around game 60. This year, he's carrying a load that he hasn't had to carry since really the 29th, no, even before Westbrook, I would say. I would even go back to 2016-17, because the seasons that he had Chris Paul and then Westbrook, that one season in 2019-20, he still had another co-star. Right now, without Kawhi, he does not have another co-star, but Ivica Zubac is the first 3 games playing at an all-star level, but it is only 3 games. So I would say that James Harden right now has the biggest burden that he's had to carry since the 2016-17 season before Chris Paul arrived in Houston. I really believe that. So is that sustainable? But forget what I said about before the season. Let's just take it one game at a time, right? The Portland Trail Blazers are a team that we are better than even without Kawhi Leonard. So we absolutely should be beating them on Wednesday night. Here's another reason why we need to beat them. It's our second game at home at Intuit Dome. I will not be there because the Dodgers might win the championship on Wednesday night. So, yeah, priorities. But I will be there on Thursday night. Now, as I said, it's a must-win game because you just don't know what's going to happen. If James Harden gets hurt at all, we are screwed. So we need to take advantage of any games that we should win without Kawhi. We're on a 2-game winning streak. This is our second game at home. We had a heartbreaker in game one. Hopefully the fans that are in attendance, if you're at the game, be loud. Pick up that momentum where we left off in game one. That was incredible. Push the squad to a win tonight. And then we'll be talking about 3 wins in a row. Teams around the league might start taking notice. National media might say 3-1. The Clippers are 3-1. Maybe they're better than we think. This team's defense is actually very good. And then you're going to hear the media finally, in a couple of games, if we keep winning, start regurgitating the same things that we as local fans and Clipper fans around the world have been saying since the offseason about our defense and how it's being slept on and how James Harden is still a better floor raiser than people think, that could still play at an all-star level. But the media wanted to harp on Paul George being gone and Russell Westbrook being gone, but not remember one thing. Defense wins at every level. I've always been a defense-first guy. I've always emphasized how that can raise your floor on any given night. I have been suspect on our offense because I feel like James Harden has to do so much, and I think other teams around the league, especially in the West, just have better offenses than us and more weapons when we don't have Kawhi, of course. But our defense is up there with anybody, and Jeff Van Gundy's got them locked in. So my moral of the story for this is that we got to win this game. Because if we lose to Portland, what does that look like beating Denver on the road and Golden State in back-to-back games and losing to the Blazers, the rebuilding Blazers, who, by the way, were 29th in offensive rating last year. So if you're talking second worst offense, they still don't have Shade and Sharp, I don't believe. And let's see what they're looking like right now. Anthony Simons is averaging 19.5 points the first 4 games. That's not as much as he averaged last season. Their leading scorer right now is Jeremy Grant, averaging 21 points on 41% shooting. DeAndre Ayton's only averaging 14. Scoot Henderson is averaging 16, so that's a step up from last year. But none of that scares me in any way, shape, or form. We need to beat them tonight and make it 3 in a row. 3-1 record to begin the season would be awesome. We didn't even have that. Actually, no, we were 3-1 last season. We were, because we got off to that good start with Westbrook and Bones Highland. But yeah, you don't know how many games you're going to get that are games that we are going to be favored. So when an opportunity presents itself, especially at home, to get the first win in this beautiful new arena, we got to get it done. And with the Blazers being 29th in offensive rating last year, and guess where they are right now? 29th in offensive rating, plus our defense. We got to clamp them up. We got to shut them down. We can go under the screens on Scoot Henderson. I think drop coverage on Anthony Simons and have Derrick Jones Jr. or Terrence guard him. I would go with Derrick and then Terrence as the second option guarding him. And then I don't mind Terrence guarding Jeremy Grant. I would have Terrence guarding Jeremy Grant and then Derrick guarding Simons, but they might do it the other way around. Obviously, we're going to switch 1 through 4, but I'm feeling pretty good. I wouldn't mind Terrence Mann guarding Scoot Henderson either. So it's going to be fun. We should get the win. It's a must win. And coming up, I'm going to explain how we can make this a blowout. I got to tell you a little something about Game Time. Game Time is the best place to get great deals last minute on tickets all the way up to the start of the event. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. And Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I bought my first Clipper ticket in a regular season game for the Intuit Dome against the Suns on Game Time. So definitely check it out. I've gotten some pretty good deals on it. And Game Time Picks makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right. Clippers, Blazers. Wednesday night at the Intuit Dome, beginning a 5-game homestand, which will be the largest of the season for us. And I'm really looking forward to it. The games we got are Portland on Wednesday night, Phoenix on Thursday night, so another back-to-back. That's 2 straight back-to-backs, but we did get 2 days of rest. And that'll be an NBA TV game on Thursday against the Suns. I know, right? Playing the Suns in both Intuit Dome games within the first week of the season. That is very strange. So we won't be seeing the Suns at Intuit Dome after Thursday, unless we play them in the playoffs again. I will be in attendance Thursday. Let's get some revenge. I've seen the Suns play 4 times already this season because they played the Lakers twice and the Clippers. Well, no, I'm sorry, 3 times because I'll have seen them play 4 times by Thursday, and they are 2-1 in those 3 games. Hopefully that becomes 2-2. I'm not very impressed by them, but they have KD, Beal, and Booker. Like, that's all I can say. I'm not impressed by them. Nurkic is not a very good starting center in the NBA, in my opinion. Not a good defender. Too reckless offensively, and they want to get him to shoot threes, and he's not good at them. But they have Beal, and he's healthy this season to begin, unlike last season. Booker's fantastic, and KD is KD. That being said, if we get that 3rd win in a row, and there's no load management going on. We saw what happened on Sunday night against Golden State. We're just going to come back the next night with that same intensity. I think we should win both. Then the 3rd game of the homestand is the toughest. That's Oklahoma City on Saturday. I won't be mad if we lose that one, honestly. They're just a better team. It is what it is. I don't think we have no chance, of course, and I will definitely be there. And then we have San Antonio on Monday with Wemby and Chris Paul. That should absolutely be a win. And then Philly on ESPN the following Wednesday, which was supposed to be Paul George's return, but he's not played a game yet for the Sixers, and Joel Embiid hasn't this season either. So as far as I'm concerned, if the tickets are still super expensive because it's anticipation of Paul coming back, but he's not, I'm not going to go to the game because I don't have the media credential yet, so I'm not, and I don't have the season ticket. Which, by the way, if I don't get the media credential, I'm just going to get the season ticket because it's just worth it to be at the Intuit Dome. For this inaugural season. It's such a better atmosphere. It's kind of the atmosphere I've been waiting for my whole life from Clipper games, where everyone seems invested and it's not as many neutrals just sitting there on their phones or just there because they got invited. It's real Clipper fans trying to make that place jumping. So it was really special. So I might just do it. By the way, if you have the time to get the supporters pass or the wall pass, you should absolutely do it. It's the best deal in the league, and Ballmer's purposely catered it so that like the non-wall seats are expensive and that the wall seats are not expensive, so that he gets Clipper fans funneling into the wall to build his vision. And I think it's a genius idea personally, but I get if people can't make the commitment for the supporter section, but the wall pass, I would so do it. And then, so the Spurs, I think we should win that game. And then Philly, if Paul George and Embiid don't play, I think we should win that game. If they do, different, but honestly, I hope we beat them. I mean, my dream is if Paul plays and we destroy him and he gets booed incessantly, but I feel as though he's going to not be ready for it. So out of those 5 games, let's just assume that Embiid and Paul don't play. I say we should go 4-1. Imagine we start the season 6-2. That would be huge. To give Kawhi a little bit more time, and it would put the whole world on notice that, the Clippers are better than we thought, and we don't value defense because we're obsessed with offense and three-point jacking in today's game. Nerds. I'm kidding. I got to stop attacking the analytics crowd. Psych! Are you kidding me? I'm anti-numbers. I'm a basketball guy, not a math guy. I know the two are intertwined, but screw that. I'll give you some math. The Clippers, so far this season, are playing great defense. More specifically, I said the Blazers have I think they're 23rd in defensive rating right now. I just checked. 23rd in defensive rating. So not great. Clippers are 3rd in defensive rating right now. 3rd. And that could go up. So how are we going to win this game? What are the keys? Very simple. Clamp City. The Los Angeles Clampers. A team that we're playing tonight is not a good offensive team. We are a very good defensive team. So you know what that means? Lock up, rebound and push, get the ball and go, get it to Harden off the rebound and let him outlet or push, and then hopefully create turnovers. We caused 21 turnovers in San Francisco with Golden State. If we cause 17 plus, we're going to run them out the gym. And then Derrick Jones Jr., guys like Kai Jones will be flying. We'll see if Kai Jones gets more minutes. It really all depends on who the backup center is for the Blazers. I know DeAndre Ayton starts for them, but I didn't get to tap into any of their games so far this season. I was watching the Warriors game in the first half that they played, but nothing besides that. So they go with Donovan Clingan from UConn as their backup right now. I honestly don't think Kai Jones will play that much, but given that it's a back-to-back, I think he maybe should get a little bit of a longer look. And also, it's going to make Kevin Porter Jr.'s life easier, because what you're seeing right now is a lot of what happened with John Wall, which is because Ty Lue wants to go with this small ball unit off the bench led by Nicholas Batum. When he does that, he doesn't have a pick-and-roll big man. So nobody is good at setting screens. So what you have is 5 wings or guards together, and the defense is going to switch everything, which causes iso ball. So then that's when it becomes Kevin Porter Jr. just dribbling around. And that's part of why John Wall, I'm not making excuses for, didn't have, we didn't necessarily give him the formula to be successful at that stage of his career, because he's not going to be a great iso player anymore. And when teams are playing against small lineups, they're going to switch everything. And yeah, it became John Wall isolating. So we'll see. I think Kai Jones should get a look. But the key is defend, force turnovers, get out and run. My point being, their team's not good offensively. We're great defensively. This game should not be an issue. But we'll see. And then offensively, James Harden playing against this kind of team, who's going to guard him? Maybe Scoot Henderson? Maybe Jeremy Grant? Probably Jeremy Grant, I would assume. So that might be a little difficult, but one screen, let's see if they switch. Are they going to switch Anthony Simons onto him? Because if they do, that should be barbecue chicken. And then as far as the bench, I hope this can be a game where Kevin Porter Jr. gains some confidence and plays against a weaker team and gets going. Maybe has a double-digit game. That'll give him some momentum. And yeah, as I said, confidence going into the rest of the homestand. But defense is where we're going to make our mark all season long. It's where we should make our mark tonight. But hopefully we get a little offensive flurry, given that the Blazers aren't a good defensive team. The one thing we can never do is underestimate our opposition. I think it could be a blowout. I would love if it's a blowout. Some might say it should be a blowout. But it's the NBA. You're always playing against good players. As long as we get the win, that is cool with me. And coming up, going to be looking at a big subplot I was thinking of for this game. The revenge of Ivica Zubac. What does that mean? Going to be talking about it coming up. All right, so back here to talk about the Wednesday night matchup between the Clippers and the Portland Trail Blazers. The 4th game of the season for the Clippers. The Blazers are playing their 5th game of the season. They are 1-3 so far, predicted by most to finish at the bottom of the Western Conference. By the way, remember when I did that preview a couple weeks ago for Locked On, that they had the bottom 5 teams by FanDuel odds, and we were one of them? Just remember that as the season goes on, with the likes of Portland. So we'll hopefully make it clear how big of a gap there is, even without Kawhi tonight. But one of the things I'm most looking forward to is the Ivica Zubac DeAndre Ayton matchup, and here's why. In the 2021 Western Conference Finals, DeAndre Ayton was the best player in that series, at least for Phoenix, because Paul George was really good. He dominated us on the glass. He had the Valley-Oop game winner that we all don't want to relive. And he just outplayed Devin Booker, because Chris Paul was definitely not in the conversation. He had one good game, and they were 2-2 with CP3. They were 2-0 without him. DeAndre Ayton was the best player in that series for them. And I think DeAndre Ayton is a very skilled player who just doesn't have the motor to be a star. He's got a great mid-range game. He's got a fantastic jump hook. He has a lot more offensive talent than Zoo. But I think Zoo's a little bit closer to being a dog, to getting more out of his talent. DeAndre Ayton finally went to a team where he could do his own thing, and he didn't even average 20 points last year. I was very disappointed with that, as just a basketball fan, as a guy who likes skilled big men, and a guy who doesn't like Phoenix and was happy to see DeAndre Ayton move. I just was disappointed. I don't think he plays with a relentlessness to his game. And Chris Paul and the Suns fans, they call that out for many years. However, if the Suns still had Ayton, they'd be a real contender because he's such an upgrade over Nurkic. But Zoo has not had the most success against DeAndre Ayton. In his career, Zubac has averaged 10 points and 8 rebounds. That includes the playoffs against Ayton, which aren't bad stats. Those are like typical Zoo numbers throughout the course of his career. But DeAndre Ayton has averaged 16 and 11 against Zubac in the games that they've played against each other. And that does include 2 games against the Lakers in the beginning of his career. where Zoo obviously wasn't getting that many minutes. But you go to the playoffs, game 1, 2021, 20 points, 9 rebounds for Ayton on 10 for 14 shooting. The Valley Hoop game, 24 and 14 on 12 for 15 shooting. You see what I'm saying? So, and then game 4, I don't remember if it was, I think it was game 4 that Zubac played. Yeah, it was game 4. I was at it. He had 19 points and 22 rebounds. 19 points and 22 rebounds. Absolutely crazy. And by the way, in that series, both games that we won were without Zoo. But that was then and this is now. The reason I'm bringing this up is because Ivica Zubac is leading the league in rebounds right now. Leading the league with 14 a night. And this is what happens when you finally play him 30-plus minutes. He's averaging 37 minutes a game right now, which is a lot. I don't know if that's going to continue. But if he can play that many minutes, by all means, please. Because if he averages 20 and 13, that's a star. That's for all the people that are saying we should rebuild, we have a centerpiece now. And even if we don't, we're more straight than people think. The thing about the rebuild conversation is Kawhi Leonard, if he does play, is so good that, you can't think of trading the guy because he's a championship number 1 caliber guy, and those guys don't grow on trees, especially with this franchise. So, and right now, of course, the Clippers, you might think, oh, let's just get rid of him because he's just injured all the time. But who's going to accept that? You know what I mean? So, but I know that there was a lot of conversation, and there still is, and I want to address, that group of people that that wants to go a different direction. Zubac playing this well is definitely a reason to potentially go that way. But yeah, Zoo is leading the league in rebounding right now. And my point is, this Zubac looks different. This Zubac has a good pick-and-roll partner in James Harden. This Zubac has the confidence because there's no Kawhi or Paul George anymore. And he's just been in the league longer. He's refined his jump hooks with both hands. He's playing with a super level of confidence right now. His reads in the short roll have gotten better. He's averaging 23 and 14 right now, which are much better than Ayton's stats. So let's see what the new look Zubac looks like against Ayton. And then, by the way, he's not the only Clipper leading in a statistical category around the league. James Harden is currently leading the league in assists with 11.7. So 12 assists a game. That would be his career high. Now, do I think that number is sustainable? Probably not. But do I think it's going to drop that much? Not really, especially when Kawhi's out. I think James is going to average 10-plus assists this season. If he averages 10.7, essentially 11, like he did in 2023, even without a player of Embiid's caliber, I think that would be one of the most underrated accomplishments of his entire career. But the ball's going to be in his hands so much, and he's not going to shoot. He can't, create the same amount of shots for himself as he did with Houston, so he's going to focus on distributing a little bit more. And I think we ran some good sets for Norm and certain guys to get open, and he can always place that pass right in the pocket where the shooter wants it. But James, by the way, right now is averaging 7 turnovers a game. I just looked at that, 6.7, so that's a lot. So he has a 12-7 assist-to-turnover ratio, essentially. But if we're winning games, I'm not going to complain about assist-to-turnover ratio. I just think that's something to watch. So he is throwing a lot of risky passes. But he's averaging 25, 8, and 12 right now. Those are MVP caliber stats. I mean, of course, Jokic and Luka put up insane stats. It makes you think, what would James Harden's stats be like in his prime at this NBA that's gotten even more three-point centric, even more. I don't know about the calls on the perimeter being worse than what they were in his peak. At his peak, they were so bad they had to kind of refine them a bit. But it's just even more spacing, even more threes, even more pace now. So I feel like maybe his points would get an even bigger little increase. But a D'Antoni offense obviously is really favorable for the guy that's running it, like a Nash or Harden. But those are insane stats right there. It's just a matter of if it's sustainable. The thing is, he hasn't even shot that well. He's shooting 36% from the field, James Harden, and he's averaging 25 points. Oh my God. This makes me think he could even average potentially more. 36% from the field and 19 from 3. But he's getting to the line 10 times a game, whereas last season he was getting to the line about 6 times a game, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check right now. Let's see. Last season, he got to the line. Jeez. There we go. 5 times a game. So he's getting double that right now, which makes a lot of sense because that's essentially 4 to 5 extra points. and in addition to 8 more shots a game being taken. So we'll see. I have to say, he's getting a lot of calls so far this season. Besides the first game, he's gotten like every call. Somewhere I'm just like, how does he get these calls? It's so weird being on this side of it. But yeah, if he starts shooting a little better, which he will, the thing is, James is going to just have the best defender on him now. So it's normal you're going to see a dip in efficiency. He's going to have the best defender on him. He's getting taxed so much. But if he starts hitting shots, we could be looking at, until Kawhi comes back, he's averaging 30. My thing was, if James Harden averages 30, are we going to be a good team? My answer was no before the season. But with Zubac playing like this, with our defense looking even better, who knows? But I just got to give James Harden credit, because the fact that he's averaging 25 points on 36% and we're still winning, 25 and 12 and 8, the rebounding has been a real breath of fresh air. He's been awesome. It's been his, I don't want to say his best start to a season since 2023, because 2023 was a different role for him, and he was averaging 21 and 11 on much better efficiency. So at the end of the day, all I care about is the wins, right? And we need to be better than Houston so we can keep that pick. So Clippers, my prediction for the score, let me get yours in the comments. I'm going to go with 117-99 Clippers. Lawler's Law remains undefeated for the season on that. And when I mean undefeated, I mean whoever in a Clipper game has gone to 100 first has won. Doesn't mean necessarily that the Clippers are undefeated when they get to Lawler's Law. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dime Dropper Pod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper, LA sports, and NBA content. Of course, tonight I'm going to be trying to go out to see if the Dodgers win this thing. And special news, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter written by yours truly, introducing the new Locked On Clippers daily newsletter, a one-stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Clippers newsletter, which is like a summary of the podcast. You can always read that if you don't get to listen to the pod. And of course, subscribe to the pod wherever you get your podcasts. And on YouTube, comment your score prediction and what you thought of the episode. Hit the notification bell so you know every single time we post a video on Locked On Clippers, your home for all things LA Clippers. The age-old proverb continues, and I'll talk to you guys after the game tonight. Well, you'll get the episode tomorrow. Go Clippers.